Hey everybody, it's Mrs. Johnson, your school counselor, and I know it's been a little bit since I've been on here, but I'm hoping to be able to get on here more often now that March is behind us. We had spring break, and I had to really focus on getting my 8th graders scheduled for the high school. So I hope that now that it's April and it's technically spring, even though the last couple of days have been pretty cold, you've been able to get outside a little bit. It's so important to enjoy some of those sun rays. It can really improve our mood, especially after a long winter. And so I hope that you're able to take a few moments to enjoy that. You may notice my nose is a little red because when spring comes, so do my allergies. So if you see me wiping my nose, everything's fine. I just have severe allergies during this time of year. So anyway, I did want to talk very briefly about our More Than Words word for this month, which is peace. And I love that word, peace. And the definition from the United Way is proving you care more about each other than winning an argument. So finding peace. So we're going to talk more about peace later on in the month. But since it's testing time, and I know most of you, if you're virtual at least, have done practice tests, like had to come in and do them, and then everybody else has been doing them as they go to their classes, testing time can create a lot of anxiety, and our official testing doesn't start until April 19th, so we have about 2 full weeks until we start. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's called test anxiety. So I'll show my little visual here. So you may get a little bit of anxiety when you think about testing. Everyone experiences this differently. So for some people, it's just a little bit of nerves, and for other people, it can be pretty extreme. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this sheet here. So it says, what is test anxiety? Test anxiety is the worried, nervous, or scared feeling that happens to you when it's time to take a test or even a quiz. It says, how does it affect me? You might experience headaches, sweating, nervous stomach, crying, trouble breathing, and a faster heartbeat. You may feel angry, worried, hopeless, helpless, and overwhelmed. Test anxiety can also bring on negative thoughts. So you may say things like, I can't do it, or I'm probably going to fail anyway. You might also be thinking about the worst possible thing that can happen. So some people experience a blank out, which means that they forget everything they studied as soon as the test is in front of them. And so all those things, if you have test anxiety, are normal. And so we're going to talk about 5 different ways that you can try to overcome that. And I do want to say, before you are, going to, we have 2 weeks, so before you're going to take the iLearn test, think about how you react to taking an exam or a test like that. So what are some things that you do personally? So do you experience, they talked about headaches, sweating, nervous stomach, crying, trouble breathing, and a faster heartbeat? I know for sure that whenever I experience anxiety, it's definitely, I feel it in my stomach. I feel the butterflies. I feel, I feel kind of like uncomfortable in my body, a lot of energy. And so if those things are true for you, then it's important to make sure that you're being aware of that and trying to do things that might help those symptoms. So if your stomach is usually upset before a test, a peppermint or something like that, piece of like peppermint gum would be a great way to try to settle your stomach, making sure you eat in the morning, grabbing breakfast before we're taking a test, or if you're a virtual student, you're grabbing some type of, snack at home so that you're prepared whenever you come into school to take that. So let's just talk about the 5 different things that you can do. So the first thing it says, be prepared. Do a good job of studying so that you can feel confident about taking the test. Start studying a few days before and make sure that you're understanding what you're reading. Now, this is a little different for iLearn because iLearn is just testing your ability and what you've learned overall. So there's not really a way to study for it, and really that I wouldn't even suggest that. You're going into it just with the knowledge that you have and just trying your best, and that's all we're asking you to do. So there's no studying needed. However, if you were in English and you are going to be tested on a book that you have been reading, you would want to study and make sure you're as prepared as can be and know that you've done your best to prepare for the test. Number 2 says, use positive self-talk to quiet the negative thoughts in your head. So say things like, you can do it, or I've got this. Picture yourself doing well on the test. So the more we talk to ourselves and say, I can't do this, I'm going to fail, the more we start to believe that, and we can kind of what we call self-sabotage, which is like basically putting yourself in the position to fail before you've even started. So trying to remind yourself you can do it. Put a Post-it note on the mirror that you look at every morning that says you can do it on the week leading up. Really, you could do that every day. Or on your phone, put an alarm that says you can do it at 7:55 before you're walking in the building to remind yourself. Find ways to calm your body before, during, and after the test. The more relaxed you are, the better you will be able to focus on doing a good job. So whether that's breathing techniques, that might mean in the morning you have, doing some push-ups or walking around your house or, listening to music. Everyone has different things that helps calm them. And that's something that we'll talk about a little bit more before iLearn starts on things that you can do to calm your body. And we'll talk a lot about breathing because that's something you can easily do while you're sitting before you take your test. Number 4 is take your time and focus on one question at a time. Take deep breaths and read each question carefully. Don't spend too much time on one problem. So, try to relax your mind, read through what it says, take your time, don't try to rush through, and try to answer it to your best ability. And number 5 is talk to a parent, a guardian, school counselor, or teacher. They might be able to work with you to come up with coping skills that can be successful. So if you don't know what a coping skill is, we all have them, and they can either be healthy or unhealthy. And this is something we should probably talk about in another video because it's a pretty big topic. So coping skills are what we use to get through difficult times. So that's kind of what we'll talk about with the breathing and things like that. What are things you can do to get through this test anxiety so that you can do your best on the test? So I hope that you found that those helpful. And like I said, I'll be back with a couple more videos this month. I'm hoping to do more, like I mentioned. So if you need anything, as always, feel free to message me on Canvas if needed. And otherwise, I will see you later, and I hope you have a wonderful week.